And what would be special, many things, few things are very special about our Earth. And one is that the previous world, called Tohu, lacked sexuality. Everything was of an individual nature. But here, everything needs something else. In order to become more, we need another person, another thing. Everything is in need. Therefore, everything tries to form relationships that allow us expression into the world. The idea of sexuality being new to our planet is also seen in our freedom of choice. And these two things, freedom of choice and sexuality, are very profound to our creation. Because of that, every 666 years, in the 6,000 years of creation, each 1,000 years a basis from the first day of creation, each of the 6 days, a prototype to 1,000 years. As it says in the Tehillim, the praises of Dovid, that a day to God is 1,000 years to the human being. Using this formula of 1,000 years to 1 day is how we calculate 365 squared times 2,000 to reach the number of 26645. But interesting enough that when you times 666 times 40, it comes to the same value. Now 40 is very important because in space space is considered a cube. And the one letter in the Hebrew alphabet which looks like this, looks like a cube, is the letter Mem, which is the number 40. And the Mem is the only letter of the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet which does not connect to all the letters. In other words, like the Aleph is spelled Aleph Lamed Pei, therefore all the letters could be derived out of the Aleph, or out of all of the letters except for the Mem. The Mem is spelled Mem Mem. And that is the idea of confined. And that's why we find this idea of 40 many times in the Torah, that it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Moshe was on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. The people wandered in the desert for 40 years. Also is brought in the Talmud, in the Mishnah, that a woman conceives of a child at 41 days. For 40 days, the placenta grows. At 41 days, the child becomes. Therefore, according to the rabbis, who are very strict in their opinions, that a child, a pregnancy before 41 days was nothing. And if a woman wanted to end the pregnancy before 41 days, that it was nothing. Now, this idea of 40 is made from the three, it's made in two ways, and it's how it becomes a cube. That it's made from the three tenses of past, present, and future that connects to space, and is connected in the three, the breadth, the width, and the height of space connected to time. And these four states of being, time and space, three of space and one of time, three of time and one of space, are a revelation from the Yud He Vav He, the four-letter name of God, which when reduced to numbers produces 26. Okay. In each of the 1,000 years, proceeding from the first from the first 6 days of creation, there was a 666. 20 years before the first 666, the Mayan calendar begins. 106 years after the last 666, the Mayan calendar ends. And this is one can look at it as though this is a love affair with the Creator that has a beginning time and has an end time and has periods, 6 periods throughout, when there is this hit of the 666. And what is 666? Contrary to popular belief, when you put them together, they make 18, which is Chai, which is life. And actually the numbers that have to do with death are the 777. Because we see the Lemach, who took revenge on Cain, was after 7 generations, and says of himself he is 777, and he is made into the angel of death. And 4 years after 2012 is the Hebrew date 5777. Not to be afraid, though, that this is not a time of death except for those things which have impeded light into the world, and they will be, as it says, swallowed up by that time. Now, the reason why 2012 is so important, first of all, after the last 666, which was 1906, and during 1906, a number of very extraordinary things happened, including the biggest earthquake ever to hit the world in San Francisco. This actually is being produced in San Francisco 100 years later. And what else happened? Einstein published his paper a week before the 666 in Hebrew, 5666, that would lead to the understanding of the atom. Also, Picasso discovered Cubism in 1906. It was a very strong time, a time full of creativity. But because of the many problems in the world that the human being has not yet worked out, this energy, this beautiful sexual creative energy, was used also for war. And we've seen in these last 100 years terrible wars. And we've also seen Mars come closest to the Earth in August 27th, 2003. Exactly 5 years since we were hit by a neutron star for 5 minutes. August 27th, 1998, a year divided by 3, which makes 666. Also, the 2,000 years of Rome were over, and at 2003, Mars came closest to the Earth. And it's when that they launched their war, that they promised to be a 100-year war. But Cain, who was the progenitor of war and murder, was given his years until 777. And since this is the end of the 666, it is now up to the human being to define ourselves sexually.